Hello and welcome to all you astrology friends out there. This is the video about Mercury retrograde in Taurus, and I'm going to talk about in general what this is all about, the interpretation on an astrological level, and then for each and every 12 sign, I'm going to explain in what typical area of life this is going to happen for you. So first of all, Mercury retrograde, it happens every year, 3 to 4 times that we have a Mercury retrograde. And now we're going to have one on the 21st of April. And so around and about the 21st of April, Mercury is already in Taurus now, and it's slowing down as I speak. I'm recording this on the 10th of April. It's slowing down, and it's around the midst of Taurus, and it wants to approach a specific planet. And that's where this whole Mercury retrograde is evolving around. It's a very Uranian Mercury retrograde in Taurus because of the fact that this Mercury wants to touch Uranus, which is at around and about 17 degrees of Taurus, but it's at 15 degrees. So you've got 17 degrees and 15 degrees, and at 15 degrees it's going to stop and it's going backwards until 14 degrees of Taurus, 13 degrees, not 0 degrees. It goes there up until like 5 degrees, I think. Is it? I'm double checking. Yes, 5 degrees of Taurus. And that is going to be around and about, you could say, where it's going to go direct again. So you've got 29 degrees of the sign of Taurus. It goes into 15 degrees, then it stops. It's almost touching Uranus, but it's not going to do that. It stops and it goes backwards up until even 5 degrees of Taurus. And then it stops again and it goes forwards again. So this whole motion, it seems like it's going backwards and forwards, but this whole motion is what the Mercury retrograde is all about. And it's the other detail, then I'm going to stop with all these details here, but it's going direct again on the 16th of May. So it stops at 5 degrees of Taurus, the 16th of May, and then it goes forwards again. And it's out of its shadow, as we call it, at the very end of May, the 1st of June. Then it's going to reach out of the shadow side, you could say, right? And it really is going to hit Uranus on the 5th of June. So around and about the 5th of June is a very important day because it's like between now, I'm now recording this on the 10th of April, up until the 5th of June, it's like a whole preparation time. So whenever Mercury is with Uranus, it's one of my favorite aspects, basically. Why? Because Mercury is a messenger. It's about communication. It's about the way that we think. And we all know that retrogrades are about revisiting something, rethinking, reassessing, all of that kind of stuff. But when it's going to hit Uranus, Uranus is like, you could say the lightning bulb. It is like clarity. It's the wake-up call, you could say. It's Mercury with Uranus is like genius insights. So we all are going to have that information for sure, but it's like we are almost seeing it and we're seeing a glimpse of it. But there's some sort of panic involved with that. And why is that? Because with this Mercury retrograde on the 21st of April, the day before, the 20th of April, we have an eclipse. And to know more about that, I refer to the video I made already about the eclipse. Because that is happening at the latest degree of Aries, 29 degree of Aries. So there is like something, eclipse is happening. And it's an eclipse with newness that is coming in because it's the North Node very close to the Sun and the Moon, which always shows new paths, new horizons, right, are appearing. And that's a very positive thing. But sometimes And we forget that. And especially with this Taurian Mercury retrograde, Taurus is all about stability. It's all about, I'm comfortable. I don't want something new, even if I know that it's better for me. That is what the sign of Taurus is all about. Taurus has positive side and a negative side, just like every other sign. But the positivity about the Taurian is the stability. It's very stable. It's very calm. It's energy that is very grounded. And that can be such a blessing. But like with everything, when you overdo it, it becomes rigid. It becomes stubborn. It doesn't want to get out of the comfort zone. But with this energy, it implies that it has to. And so if you fight energies, it's always worse than if you go with the energies, although that in itself can also be something that is not so easy. But when you go with that energy, it's easier. So what it shows here is that, especially with what is happening before this Mercury retrograde, we have on the 20th, around about the 20th, that eclipse. Something becomes very clear to us that we have an opportunity for something new, but we will have to really be comfortable with the very uncomfortable energy. And there are not many people who can do that. It demands a lot of awareness, first and foremost. Yes, we can be open for new things that are positive. And even then, some people have difficulties with that, something positive. And that is the pitfall of Taurian energy. So I want to prepare you for the pitfall of the Taurian energy, so that you can tap into the positive of the Taurian energy. And I mean mental energy, because Mercury is about mental energy. It's about our thoughts, our communication, what we think, how we think, what kind of information is coming to us. That's all Mercury. So the pitfall that we have to watch out for is that because something is uncomfortable, that we're gonna, get rigid, like the Taurian, like, I'm going to get lazy here. Or it seems like you're getting lazy and doing nothing, but it's actually out of fear, because you don't want to change. And the downside of that, of the Taurian, the biggest pitfall is that because they want the known, which is not always better or worse, but they want the known, they prefer the known before they prefer the unknown. And, whenever it is time to say goodbye to the known, because it's no longer good for you, Taurians can have really difficulties with that. It's their pitfall that sometimes they have a situation and they have another situation that is coming up, an opportunity, but they don't take it. Not because that situation that they are in is better. On the contrary, they know deep down that it might not be the best for them, but they stick to it anyway because it is known. So every Taurian knows this. If you've got your sun in Taurus or moon in Taurus, they keep on not clinging, but they keep on hanging on to situations, to people that they know that they are no longer good for us. So we all have that energy now in a particular area of our life where we want to just stick to the old. We all have Taurus in our chart. So we all have that energy that we are rather comfortable, or we are rather going to choose for the comfortability instead of going to the unknown. But our mind is showing something. And Uranus is a bit of a shocking planet, but it's a liberating planet, right? It's like the news that we were getting, and it's uncomfortable. It can be positive news though, right? So maybe, for instance, you can get the news of, I'm going to have a new job. They said yes to it, but it's new. It's something that I've never done before. And I will have to be very uncomfortable there. But it's a positive thing, right? It's what we make out of it, positive or negative. It's all up to us, right? It's our perception. But of course, there are things that we all perceive more positive than negative, or the other way around. But what an opportunity we have with this Mercury retrograde to step out of a very, very rigid situation that is actually It has offered us stability for many, many weeks, months, maybe years. But now it's not. It's actually doing us harm. And it's actually tapping into the positive side of Taurus, which is perseverance, which is grounding, which is, everything is chaotic here. But, it's the crisis manager, with Taurian, that is a crisis manager, is the calm one. It's like, the nervous system is very grounded, is very cooled down. And of course, Uranus, I associate that with nervous system. So there's going to be happening something that makes us all nervous in a particular area of our life, but we have an opportunity to think about it, to revisit it, reassess it, and then implement and use the new information, and off we go. So what a beautiful piece of information is coming to us all, and it demands groundedness. So it's going to be important during this Mercury retrograde to ground yourself, so to tap into the positive side of Taurus, and the sun will be just entered Taurus as well at 1 degree or something. So we will have some groundedness for sure, but we have to know that we have to tap into that energy. And what is groundedness? Groundedness is to, very simple things. Just like the Taurians, they love simple things. It doesn't have to, but luxurious things as well. So, but simple things, I mean, to have good food, to have enough sleep, to make it comfortable for yourself. You can make a video in very annoying circumstances, or you can make a video with you put on something that you like, you put on some makeup, you do your hair like you love to do it. You can make it as comfortable as you want. That is a Taurian energy. It's grounding us. It's good food, like in a way that it nourishes our body, and it's very raw and real. So it's also a very practical sign. This is about practicality. So some practicalities could be really offering us new opportunities in our lives, but we have to go through it, right? We have to go through that uncomfortability. So the whole Mercury retrograde, as in itself, it's always about reassessing. For sure, it's standing still. It's not to annoy you. A situation comes up and we have to reassess it. Again, it's not to annoy you. It's actually to improve that situation later on, right? So like a car could break down, for instance, but it's not good anyways. You've been struggling with that maybe for weeks or months or years. And now is the time that you can reassess it, for instance, and make it better, or do some really being in the now and making effort to focus on that. Because if we do something in a 1, 2, 3, let's say my watch is broken, and I try to fix it in a 1, 2, 3 because I'm annoyed, and it's not going to happen. Or I can fix it, but then the day after it's again broken. Or we can do something, and that is what Taurus is all about. It wants to do it the right way. It wants quality. Another specific of the value for Taurus is the value that we give something. So we are going to reassess this. We're going to look at it. We're going to take our time. We're going to be calm and comfortable first. And then we're going to focus our energy on it. And we're going to explore. Maybe we'll bring it to a jeweler instead of doing it ourselves. Or maybe we are going to do it ourselves, but we need a certain tool. We're going to buy that tool. And we're going to put effort and hours into it, or weeks. And if we do that, it's going to be long lasting. And that is the quality, right? So that is the energy that we are into. Very interesting energy. And as I said, it starts now as I speak, because Mercury is already in its shadow. And it ends around the 5th of June, where we all have that information and that insight. So because, and another thing, because of course the eclipse is happening before this Mercury retrograde, we are going to have also the moon involved here with the Mercury. So moon conjuncting with the Mercury, moon conjuncting with Uranus, a very volatile energy, but an energy of this is it. Like all of a sudden something happens, we see it. Our eyes are opened. It's a wake-up call, but it's also causing emotionally distance, you could say. So Mercury is, of course, also a communication, conversation. So many of us will have that experience of some conversation is happening that is pretty faded because we have that eclipse here before the Mercury retrograde. And it kind of demands from us to emotionally distance ourselves a little bit. Not again, Moon Uranus, I've been talking about that for a while in the monthly horoscopes as well. It is not about cutting the cords. It's about distancing yourself a little bit to protect yourself and to look at what's happening so that you get calm first and then you can act. It's all that energy that we're having here. The good news is, though, that the ruler of this is Venus, and it's in the sign of Mercury. What is this all about? This is called, in astrology, mutual reception. So Mercury is in the sign of Venus because it's in Taurus, and Venus is in the sign of Mercury because it's in Gemini. And what means mutual reception means that these planets are helping each other. They are trying to support each other. So Venus and Mercury are about gentle communication, communication from the heart, communication with love. You know, people who've got Venus, Mercury aspects, they know how to speak. They speak in a way that it loves our ears love it because of the gentleness, because of the softness, because of the love that we have it. It's not like with Mars, it's like harsh, 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 harsh. It's loud. It's soft. It's gentle. Right? So that is a very positive thing with that as well. Other than that, you know, there are some other aspects, but I think the Uranian aspect is the most important. I explained that. And yes, the Sun also squares Pluto whilst this is happening, but this is just on that particular day. And it's always the, you know, it's always one aspect that is kind of the strongest, and like all the rest is peanuts, you could say. Although with Sun square Pluto is an important day, it has to do with transformation. In combination with this Uranus energy, it's definitely a bit of a mini revolution. But the revolution, yes, it starts all of a sudden, but we have time. We have time to ground ourselves again, and we have a couple of weeks up until like the 5th of June where we can understand or try to understand, do effort to do that, and kind of reassess again, so that we start with new information and we put our actions into that as well. Let's go to the signs and find out where that is for each and every sign very shortly, but strongly to know where is this happening. Aries, this is happening in your 2nd house, and the sign of Taurus there with all this energy and the Mercury going backwards and forwards is definitely for a lot of Aries people about finances. There could be a problem, a crisis, or there could be just something coming up that you are forced, or that you feel like emotionally that you are forced to revisit this. This cannot be better if you are already aware of this, that, for instance, you have to change your financial situation. And you've got the time here to figure this out. To figure this out, how you can hustle for the money, how you can rearrange some accounts or whatever. This is a really wake-up call for let's just stabilize even better our finances. And of course, if it's not finances, it all has to do with your worth, your self-worth, your confidence. So if it's been a bit like off lately, this is actually a good sign, because this shows that you can do something about it. But it will demand getting out of your comfort zone. Maybe you will have to tap into new talents. The 2nd house, I see that as the talent house. The 2nd house is also associated with, and Taurus as well, with teeth. So you could be literally having to restore something in the mouth as well. Or you have to reassess what you are eating and kind of improve your confidence around food and around healthiness around that, and quality food. You know, it's Taurus after all. But very interesting if you want to improve and build up your confidence, and if you are willing to step into something that the solar eclipse was already showing you in your own sign, that something needs to change here, and it has to do with your life path. So for you, it could be anything that you will have to change, because the eclipse was in your house. So that could be a relationship, it could be your work, and so on. This is too broad astrology to see it, but what an opportunity this is for you. Taurians, of course, this is all about you. Everything that I said in the beginning applies to you. The eclipse was in the 12th house. So there was like this pattern that needed to go for you. Whatever your pattern that was not healthy, that was more a pattern of escape than whatnot, right? That had to go. And because of you releasing it, you've got this huge opportunity to reprofile yourself. So you're one of the 12 signs for sure that after this retrograde, people are going to perceive you as totally different. Whether it is your looks, whether it is your vibe, of course it's going to be mostly your vibe and your energy that you exude. It's totally shifting, and people are going to say, what? But it had to, because you're one of those characters out of the zodiac that is, doing those things that can be very self-sabotaging for you, which is not wanting to change because you don't want to get uncomfortable. So for you, for sure, get uncomfortable. If there is something that you're very uncomfortable, know that this is temporary. Know that you are fine. You know you, and you do you, and it's going to strengthen you in the long run. And it's not going to be like, this feeling is not going to last forever. It's temporary. So do whatever you need to do to how you are going to speak and to profile yourself to others. Relationships as well are very much because you change your mind in some way, because you have an opportunity here to say no to old toxic patterns. And you get insights, and the insights come from within, and that is the strongest. When you have those insights from within, I mean, your whole outer world can change. So what an interesting period this is for you. And yes, know that when you're very uncomfortable, know that it is for your own good, and that you are good as you are. And that you're being the good Taurian, which is perseverance. You're getting there, and you know that it is ultimately to improve yourself and your situation and your life, to get more comfortable in the end. Geminis, this is happening in your 12th house. So this is definitely, because the solar eclipse happens in your 11th with the goals and the new goals that you're having, or new friendship, new connections, it prompts you into releasing something and thinking about old patterns that you need to release, old habits, but that are very stubborn, right? They can be very stubborn, and now because of this Mercury Uranus, that it needs to go. And it's a lot about energetic work, and about, you could be really dreaming or having some really clairvoyant dreams almost with the Mercury and the Uranus in your 12th house. Use it for your new goals. Use it to apply your future. It's nothing more than that, but it's a very interesting Mercury retrograde for you. Yes, you can feel a little bit lost, but don't worry. Sit with that uncomfortable energy. You are Mercury, of course, so you are ruled by Mercury. You're in that 12th house, a bit in the mist, for sure. But it is to release old luggage, old baggage that is no longer suiting you. Cancerians, this is a rather gentle Mercury retrograde for you, because it's a sextile to your energy. I mean, the Taurian energy, and this is happening in your 11th house. So there is friendships and goals. That is something that you are not seeing, or you are seeing in the wrong way at this particular moment. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we make conclusions when it comes to our friends, and they're the wrong ones. And sometimes we have goals that we set up, and they're not good for us. That is what is probably happening for you. There is an eclipse in the 10th house. So there could be something happening in the work area, in the career area, or with your parents or your public life. And that prompts you into this revisiting your goals. It's a good thing. So if you're doubting a friend, and if you have your perception about a friend that is rather negative, mind you that things could come up that are going to show you the opposite, right? So, but also the opposite could happen. You think about a friend very highly, and because of circumstances, they fall from the pedestal. And that is the thing that you're going through. Of course, I hope for you it's the other way around, right? That, but yeah, it can be a mixture, whatever. And also with your goals, there could be a goal that is not working for you, and don't panic here. You could start with a new job, or start with something or an idea, and that relates to your work, and or they decide something for you at the workplace and you panic, but don't. Right? Revisit, reassess your goals, talk with your friends. You could be getting back to friends that you haven't seen for a while. That is also a good sign here. But also friendships, there is something around it that some need to go probably, and some need to rekindled, right? And you could be doing a lot of conversations with friends, and that helps you to get where you want. Leos, this is happening in your 10th house. This is an important Mercury retrograde, in particular if you want to change jobs. If you want to change jobs, this is the time to think about it. First, think about it, reassess it. Look what's going on here, and use that eclipse in your 9th house, the broad perspective. Go on a trip, go on. I know with the Mercury retrograde, people say, oh, don't travel, but know that you can have some delays here or there. But in your case, probably not, because this eclipse is happening in your 9th house. It's like, oh, I see now, and use that energy and that insight of a broader perspective to change your career, to change your public status, to change your connection with a parent. That is all the 10th house. There's something that needs to be revisited, and this could be quite stressful and quite like, oh, all of a sudden this helps. But it's better to go with this energy and know that around the 16th of May, when Mercury goes direct, you will already see the things going forwards and going better for you around these topics. Virgos, this is a very pleasant Mercury retrograde for you. Why? A bit more than normal, although you are Mercury ruled. You know it, like just the Geminis, that every now and then you have to reassess. You have to analyze again and look at what's going on here. But now it's in a fellow earth sign, and it's in your 9th house of the higher perspective. So do travel. And you could, of course, best not on the day that Mercury goes direct or retrograde. So best not on the 16th of May, and best not on the 21st of April or around those days. Take one day before and after. But meanwhile, the trip in itself could prompt you into new insights, and that is very beautiful, because there's something transformative going on for you with this eclipse the day before that happens in your 8th house. There is like a trigger, an emotional trigger, a psychological trigger, but you're going to strengthen this, and because it's like you're learning something new. You could go back to something that you've learned in the past that you're going to relearn, or you could revisit a country that you already visited. That could be the case as well. So revisiting something with teaching and learning, or an exam, or you have to re-edit something, it's great energy for that. Or you're writing a book, you have to re-edit it, do it during this retrograde period. And when Mercury goes direct again on the 16th of May, you know where you're heading. So very beautiful energy there. and you'll deal well with that. Librans, this is in your 8th house. So this is a deep psychological understanding of the self that you have an opportunity here. You have an opportunity to understand your soul better, to know better who you are. And it's like your relationship is a trigger, you could say, because before that day, the 20th, there is an eclipse in your 7th house of connection. So someone could be showing you something that is new, that is vibrant. It could be a new relationship that starts, or it could be an existing one that needs to go to another level. And that demands this transformational energy. Yes, for some of you, having very bad relationships, this could be the time where you say, thank you very much, we're going to stop here. And that causes all this death and rebirth energy that is very, very common when Mercury is in the 8th house. We think the Mercury is where we think, what we think about. And when it goes into the 8th house, we think about 8th house stuff. It's not always just the occult or being interested in metaphysical side of life. It can be really thinking about life and death and rebirth and all those topics. So very interesting. Scorpios, very important time for you, because this is all about relationships. This Mercury retrograde backwards and forwards is in relationship house. Yes, it could be someone that is coming back and so on. But remember, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, Mercury retrograde in the 7th house, my ex is coming back. Well, if you don't want that, you just don't open the door, figuratively and literally, right? So we are adults who are watching this, I hope. So take that into consideration. But what it mostly is that there is some conversation with a specific other. If you are in a relationship, but also if you're not in a relationship, there's someone there that is causing you to look at yourself and to look at the relationship in general, how you relate to others in the connection. So it could also mean that you just have met someone new. It's actually, I don't get it because I've seen it out of practicalities, right? Then Mercury goes retrograde. I've seen people restoring their connections and building new ones as well in such a beautiful way when they go with the flow with that energy. So if you do meet someone now around that time and it's Mercury retrograde, yes, you could change your mind, but it can be, don't forget, it can be in a positive way as well. Let's say you meet someone and you say, ooh, this person has, for instance, in the practical way, think in a practical way, because this is Taurus. Maybe this person already has 3 kids but he or she is very, you get it. I mean, you don't need a lot of words, or you do have a lot of words with Mercury crossing that 7th house there, but you understand each other on a mental level, and that is on a communicative level such an important thing. And you say, yeah, but how am I going to do that? The practicalities of life. And then Mercury goes direct again, and you see a solution, how you're going to deal with it, So with the practicalities, that is, and off you go with a new relationship. Of course, it can be that there is an existing relationship or a new relationship establishing, and you think something of them and it's wrong. Yeah, that can happen, but it's going to show itself. So be grateful for that you're going to see the truth, and definitely the truth with Uranus there. So be open for the truth. I can't, and you're Scorpio, of course you're going to like this. And the eclipse is in the 6th house. So that could be something about work or your daily life, your health pops up. And you need to look at it involves another person as well that you want to talk about. And that keeps this transformation going and this insight into your relationships going. So it could be very healing for you. Although you have to be pretty uncomfortable of not knowing where this is heading. That's not nice for a Scorpio, but they know that when they stick to that, they're going to have the reward, and you certainly will have that. Sagittarians, this is happening in your 6th house, which is your day-to-day life. So you could be really thinking about your work and your routines and your health routines, how to redo them. Oh my goodness, I'm a Sagittarius rising, so I know where this is heading. definitely health routines that I want to implement here. Think about it when Mercury goes backwards. Think about it, revisit it, how you can improve your work on a real way, on a practical way, right? There is in everybody's work something that we do that has to do with communication or with technology or whatnot these days. And you have an opportunity to kind of analyze this and look at it and redo it when Mercury goes direct, which is around at about the 16th of May. So if you look for a job like, if you do a job like me, that could mean like, how am I going to do videos maybe in a different way? Maybe with some new technology, or what is good and what is not working, and how can I change it? And put some effort into that, but in a quality way, in a calm way. But yes, there could be happening something that forces you to do that, but not necessarily. There could be happening an insight that you're having, like, oh yeah, if I do that, my job is going to be 20 times easier. But I will have to delve into something that I'm not know yet and that I have to revisit. It could also mean something that you do with your health and with your routines that you did earlier in your life and that you're going to redo, that you find good. Maybe you said like, I used to eat 3 meals a day. That was good for me. Now I only do 1 meal a day. I'm going to get back to my old routine. It was better, and you implement it. And it takes some time to revisit and to look at it and blah, blah, blah. And that's the whole thing. It could also definitely mean like an old job is going and you're going into a new job. And the retrograde is the pause. The retrograde is you're reassessing, should I do this? Should I give up my job? And when Mercury is direct, and after that, that is the best time for contracts, considering work. It's actually even better if it's out of its shadow, but again, do what is like, common sense for you. The eclipse is in your 5th house, so it could have been, the trigger could have been your heart, really, how you want to express yourself. That could have been a trigger, or something that is happening in the life of a loved one, a child, or a love affair, or whatever, or a love relationship that is new, for instance, and it's starting, and it's causing you like rethinking your daily routines. I should really, now is not only for the other person, but mainly for myself. I should do a little bit more exercises, or I should do this and this, and I'm going to implement that when Mercury goes direct. Capricorns, I really love this retrograde for you. It's in a fellow earth sign, and it's in your 5th house. It's the house of joy, it's the house of hobbies, and it's the house of the things that you love to do. So for many of you, this is going to a perfect time to think about a hobby or sports that you once did and that you're going to pick up again. And it is with Taurus, so it has to do with this practicality. Like, for instance, you could be saying, when I was a kid, I loved to knit, or I loved to sew, or make beautiful clothes. But that's 30 years ago. And now I have an opportunity. I know someone who has that knowledge, and I have to learn that. Again, Mercury is about the mind, right? So you've got this time to, like, in that retrograde time, you're figuring this out and you're learning this. And when Mercury goes direct, you're already seeing the results. You made yourself, I don't know, maybe a tote bag or whatever, and with your old sewing machine that is of really good quality, but there is some tricks in there that you have to restore, and you're doing that. I mean, it's a simple example. It's something like that. It's the energy, right? I'm just giving you these examples, the example that come up in my mind. But it's a great opportunity for you to do some sports again, to do some hobbies again. It could also mean that your child is going through a period where they reassess something, or you are reassessing your communication with your child. So you're going to communicate in a different way. And you implement it after it goes direct again around the 16th of May. You implement like a new style of communication with your child. The same for love connections. Yes, indeed, there could be an old lover coming back, or could be a new lover. And that you, in the period that it is going backwards, that you're reassessing this person, this new love. And the eclipse was happening in your 4th house. So this was all about the nurturing and the emotional security that you want to give. Maybe you are just saying like, yeah, I want to nurture myself better. And what does that mean for me? And that could mean like, yeah, I want to have a relationship. I want to have this new person in my life. And I want to see what's happening here. So very interesting energy. Aquarians, important Mercury retrograde. It's a fixed sign, Taurus, and you are a fixed sign as well. So this is all about your home, your emotions, your emotional support that you deliver from not only that your parents, they have to do with it as well, but it's about how you nurture yourself, how you feel comfortable, how you feel safe. And very strangely, to feel more safe, you will have to do something that is very unsafe, that feels unsafe for you. But you've got time, right? You've got time to do this, and the trigger will be your mind, because that is where the eclipse is happening. Or a communication with someone in the neighborhood, or a relationship with a sibling, or a short trip that you're taking, something that you read, you teach, you learn, you communicate, and something is in a practical way popping up, and you're saying, I want more, and I want more nurturing in my life, and I want to deliver that to myself. And what do I have to do? Literally, it could mean thinking a lot about shifts that you want to make around the home, literally moving as well. And this could be the preparation for that. So contracts around moving and selling and buying, again, for you, it's very important to, if you can, of course, right? If you can avoid it, I would recommend to avoid it, not doing it whilst Mercury is shifting from direction. That is around the 16th of May, one day before or after, and around the 21st of April, one day or after. These are not the best days to do it. But if you say, hey, I have to do it, and you are aware that you will have to revisit some small letters that you have to reread and you have to revisit, well, I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? So take that in mind as well. And last but not least, Pisceans, this is happening in your 3rd house. And it's in Taurus, so it's rather positive for you. It's not that big of a deal, you could say. But the trigger is definitely your self-worth and your financial situation. There could be something that is triggering because the eclipse occurs there. And then you are going to literally revisit your mind. And yes, Mercury in the 3rd house with Uranus there could indeed be a little bit annoying when it comes to keys that are lost, or cell phones that are breaking down, or computers or whatever. You are prepared now, so do some backups for sure. You are the sign that I really want to prepare you for this, because, and also short trips. Know that when you're doing a short trips, if you have to, you do it, but at least take some books with you, because there could be some restrictions or some short, you want to take a shortcut, but it's going a bit longer here. If you're fine with that, it's not going to change the world, or it's not going to be the end of the world, because it's a sextile to your energy. So it's not all that bad. But yes, this is a perfect time, if you have your own business, to revisit your website, to revisit your old website, your old books that you've written, whatever it is. Revisiting something that you have written or read, or restudying something, relearning a skill, right? Like maybe you've always, when you were younger, you could knit, you could drive, you could, I don't know, and somewhere you've lost it there, you haven't done it for like the 30 last years, and now you're picking it up again. It's a good time to do so, and use that retrograde for relearning it, right? Relearning that skill. Taurus is about beauty. Taurus is about money. It's about quality things. So it could be having an impact on that as well, and thinking of redoing something in that respect. But a very, it's rather for you, it's if you want to learn something again that you once did learn, maybe, you started up with a workshop and you didn't make it till the end, or you just had 2 lessons and you skipped it. Now is the time to pick that up again. And you're going to have a very long-lasting effect of that, because it's in Taurus. You want to do it right. You want to do it calm and gentle. Having said that, thank you so much for watching and for your time. And I always do read the comments. I'm going to try to comment on them back when I have a little bit more time, but definitely I read them all. And thank you so much for sharing your your stories as well, and for subscribing and doing all of that. You really help me out with that, and that gives me a lot of energy to continue. Having said that, all the best to you out there, and see you next time. Bye-bye.